Good morning, welcome to our Monday morning breath session. Let me just go live on Instagram as well. And on with our YouTube and Facebook. We are on Instagram, we're on Zoom. Tom's here, Sally's here on Zoom, Christine's here on Zoom, Debbie's here on Zoom. Good morning, welcome Monday morning. It's thick fog here in Porto. It's quite nice and quiet, so I'm looking forward to getting out for a little bit of a run after this. Breathing, we're going to focus on breath as we usually do on Monday mornings. And what I want to just play around with again today, it was inspired by my little post on Valentine's Day on Friday, just about breathing into the heart, because I think we often forget about breathing up here. And I want to simplify stuff, but also not overcomplicate things as well, or make it too simple as well. We've done it all before, but it's nice just to have a little reminder of that. As always, we'll start off with getting the spine mobilized, so a little bit of movement, and then at the end of the session, we'll spend about 10 minutes just doing some seated work as well, seated practice as well. So please do join me in finding a space where you've got room around you, front and back, side to side, that you're not going to knock anything off walls or off tables or anything. Taking your feet shoulder width apart, nice and stable and supported through the base, lengthening and lifting through the spine. So remember, setting that position of connecting to the earth, connecting to the ground, also connecting to the sky, and then moving from the center and just letting the arms tap the body. So you're just letting the elbows bend, tapping the back and the belly. Relaxing the shoulders, so relaxing the shoulders down, keeping the neck long. And just breathing easy in and out through the nose. Really easy, just getting the blood flowing, the energy flowing. Getting some movement, some rotation through twisting through the spine. That back hand is just tapping with the back of the hand on the lower back. So again, that should feel nice on that lower back. And if you've got a view in front of you, enjoy the view. You don't have to stare at the screen. And then we're going to slow this down into water waves. So the idea here is that we just create that little bit of, not resistance, not tension, not over tensing or anything like that, but just that idea of spiraling through the shoulders, through the elbow, through the wrists, through the fingers. Actually, I'm just thinking of the fog here. It's just, imagine just running your hands through sort of like a thicker air, a denser air, a cloud, water waves. However you want to visualize it, but just slowing the movement down. Maybe slowing the breath down as well a little. And then just take a moment, just bring your feet about hip width so you can just check in with your balance, just standing tall. And then stepping back out. We'll do a little bit of spinal cord breathing, so you're taking your hips back a little bit. We keep in this position, so this is the position we keep with that lower body in. We're just literally tilting the pelvis forwards and backwards, and at the same time as we're tilting the pelvis forwards and backwards, we're opening up, breathing in. Here we're breathing with the movement, or letting the movement follow the breath. We're breathing in and expanding, and we're breathing out, tucking the pelvis in, rounding the back. Breath is still very quiet, soft, in and out through the nose. It doesn't have to be hard breath. Find your own rhythm. And if you think what we're doing here with the spine, we're creating extension and flexion of the spine. Do a couple more. Nice morning stretch. And then have a little shake out. Stand for a moment. Or move around if you want to move around a little bit, that's absolutely fine. Just let the breath settle. And then just to complete the three-dimensional spine movements, we'll do our dog wags the tail. So we get in the movement side to side, and then we free up the spine. Pelvis stays parallel to the ground. Remember, pelvis parallel to the ground, and then just let that spine ripple or wave coming from the base. From the base of the spine, ripple all the way up to the top of the spine. Dog wags the tail. So here we're working on that side bend or that lateral flexion. And then slowing it down. I just want to add a little bit more of that extension and side bend on the spine this morning. So palm facing the ground, a little bit of roundness there in the elbow. So connecting to the earth, connecting to the sky. So we lengthen first, and then we'll just do a little reach over. So you can do a little push through there, reach over there. So you get that nice lengthening through the side of the spine there, and then back, and then swap, lengthen first. So imagine like lengthening out a spring and then lifting it to the side. You know, like those little slinky things or whatever they call them, where you lengthen it out and then So you get that nice length there. Just creating the space now. This just leads into all of the areas where we can breathe into, where we can focus our attention on the breath. Let's do one more to each side. And then have a little bit of a shake. Shake out the wrists, maybe give the ankles a little bit of a shake, shake the legs out, move around a little bit, tap into the ground if you need to. Let's do a couple of cleansing and clearing breaths where we take a slightly fuller breath in. If you want to do that little top up, it's always nice. Then let that breath go. So we're breathing in through the nose and let go. 2 to 3 usually feels good. And then slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down. Just stand. If you want to open up the shoulders, you can. If you just want to stand, however you want to just stand for the next moment or so, just let that breath settle. Remember that cleansing and clearing breath, that one sort of like that sigh, that bigger breath, that bigger inhale, usually with that little top up and let go, is a great way of changing state. You wake up in the morning, yeah, I'm ready for the day. You're going to bed, ready to go to sleep. You're in a stressful situation, right, I can handle this situation. So it's a great leveler, if you like, or way of changing the state. It's not something that you will be doing all the time. If you're frequently sighing, that suggests you're constantly stressed, constantly trying to bring the body back into balance. So use it sparingly, but use it with intention. And when you start to use it with intention, it starts to make sense, and you can start to go, right, I'm changing gear a little bit now, I'm going in this direction, that direction, right, I'm ready for this now. So it's a nice one to play around with. So it's not about over breathing. If we're just doing it 2 or 3 times, it's absolutely fine. Right, we're going to bring our attention now, we're going to, again, shake out if you need to shake out a little bit. Just various areas where we feel we can bring awareness to the breath. We're going to come low down to start off with, and we're going to find your base of the sternum. So there's the that knobbly bit there, the base of the breastbone there. And then you're going to find your belly button. And you're going to come halfway in between there and just put a little bit of pressure. Now, if this feels really, really uncomfortable, or if you've literally just had a massive big breakfast, then obviously don't put too much pressure there. Or if it just doesn't feel right, you can just literally rest your hand there. If that doesn't feel right, just focus on that area. But it's nice to put a little bit of pressure in that area. So just pressing in a little bit. And just notice how this area responds to a natural breath. So you're just breathing gently in and out through the nose. And notice how this area responds. So what you're perhaps feeling is as we breathe in, The fingers are pushed out, there's an expansion. And as we breathe out, fingers sink back in. What is key here is that we're thinking about how that area responds to the breath. I'm not trying to breathe with any muscles around here, or trying to breathe with the diaphragm, trying to breathe with the belly. This is really important because often if we say belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, it suggests an action. It suggests we need to do something at that area. We do not need to do anything at that area if we're just standing, if we're just in a basic resting posture. In fact, all we need to do in that area is soften a little bit, let go a little bit. So if we tighten everything here, nothing's happening. You won't feel any response in this area. So we want to find exactly how much tension we need to stand, but at the same time how we can then soften into that area. So when we talk about softening into the belly, this is one area we can soften into. As we breathe in, fingers are gently pushed out. As we breathe out, fingers sink in. We're going to come a little bit lower down now, so we're going to find our navel, our belly button, and then we're going to come about 3 fingers down from the belly button. And it's the same thing. Again, if it feels uncomfortable, don't do it, or just rest your hand there, or just bring your attention there. But it's nice to actually really create, not too much pressure, but gentle pressure, so you can feel how that area responds. And again, remember that key word, responds to the breath. So see if you can sense, as we're breathing in, pushing the fingers out slightly. As we breathe out, those fingers sink back in. So in Qigong, there's a saying that where the breath goes, the energy goes. Now, in simple terms, we're obviously not breathing down here. There's no air going down there. What is happening is, as our diaphragm muscle moves down as we breathe in to create a little bit more space, regardless of how much air we're breathing, that will then create pressure in the abdomen area, which is then pushing out the connective tissue, the abdomen wall here. And also, if we can bring the breath down a little bit, i.e. bring the focus down a little bit, I'm not breathing down here, but we're just bringing our attention down, deep. Guess where that word deep comes from in terms of deep breath? So we're breathing deep. This is so important. The more and more I work with people, with clients, is the language that we use and just understanding the simple things, but not oversimplifying. So deep breath, that's a big breath. If we need to breathe more air, we take a big breath. But a deep breath down here, thin thread of air. So this is how you can breathe light, i.e. not a great volume of air. When you think about bringing the breath down here, or the sensation down here, it slows the breath and it brings the idea of the depth of where you are noticing the breath. So again, when we talk about softening the belly or bringing the breath deep, you can think about breathing here, breathing into the hips. Breathing low when we talk about breathing low. But what we mustn't do is neglect up here. So if we think about, oh, I need to breathe low all of the time, and we start to create tension here and everything tightens here, that's not good, particularly if we sat in this position all of the time, or we're at a screen or on our phones, then here becomes tight and restricted. So the idea of bringing the focus to the heart center is beautiful. So again, you can rest your hand on your heart center if you want to. When I'm bringing my focus to this area, I tend just to stand tall. Think about all the work we've just done. You could do that idea of standing with the palms facing forward. So we're just opening the heart center. But now bring your focus here and notice how that area can expand physically expand. The rib cage expand. And then soften and contract. And also bring your focus to the back. So to the upper back, the middle of the upper back. Do you know when we're doing all of the things about lengthening out the spine and we're thinking about the neck starting from the thoracic spine here, or the middle of the thoracic spine, when we're breathing into the heart, it's not just coming out the front, it's breathing to the back as well. So not just the lower back. It's very soft, light, easy breathing in and out through the nose. And then just breathing gently, just focusing on that whole space we've just created. Low here, here, ribs, back. Remember, there's not two compartments for the breath. This bugs me sometimes when people talk about belly breathing, chest breathing is bad, belly breathing is good. That's too simple, it's too simplistic. We've got to think about that whole space that you're breathing into. And that breath can be so soft, it can be so light, it can be effortless. Just have a little shake out. We'll just come to this, just for the final 5 minutes, just come to a seated position. So that can be on a chair or on the floor, whatever you prefer. And I just want you to bring the same sort of like awareness in a seated position, because often breath work is, you do your breathing. The sun's literally just coming out now. That fog cleared very quickly. We often do breath work seated. So again, the whole purpose of finding a comfortable position, feet in contact with the ground, or if you're cross-legged, wherever you're going to be comfortable for the next 5 minutes, tall through the spine. The idea of having that long spine and strong spine and flexible spine is so that you have the ability to keep your posture tall and long, but at the same time softening into the front of the body, those areas that we've just focused on. So if the spine is weak, everything's collapsed down, or if we're trying to be too rigid, everything tightens up on the front. So think about that combination of strength through the back of the body and then softness through the front of the body. So softening into the face. The face is a lovely way to start. Soften into the brow. I'd like you to keep your eyes open for this particular few minutes, because it's nice to close the eyes and really go internally. But if you just keep your eyes open with a soft gaze, you don't have to look at the screen, just soften the gaze. If you've got a window to look out of, just soften the gaze. And then just bring your attention to that heart, again, the heart center. Breathing into the heart center. But think of it also from that physical point of view. There's a very subtle expansion and contraction of the rib cage. Expansion and contraction of the spine. Minimal. And then just bring the focus down to the point, the middle of the belly, just above the belly button. So soften there. Notice how that area responds to the breath. And then bringing your awareness or attention right down into the lower abs, into the hips. Usually when you're sitting, you can feel, it's almost like feel as if you're breathing into the hips. Obviously, we're not forcing the breath down there. There's no air going down there. The breath is just natural. It's just how this area responds to the breath. So, so subtle. You might feel other areas softening suddenly. You might feel a little bit in the lower back, in the side of the ribs. So just tune into the sensations that you're feeling. As you are taking here true deep breaths. If you feel you need to, then take a slightly fuller breath, just one. You can expand a little bit, you can have that little top up. You can let go. So again, it doesn't have to be a great big volume when we take a slightly bigger breath. It can just be a little bit of a, oh yeah, there's a nice bit of space, bit more space, let go. That let go can be just very gentle through the nose. And then, with that in mind, with the idea of that strong spine, soft front, let's just bring the focus onto the actual breath. So I would like you just to either count or say softly to yourself, in on an inhale, out on an exhale, or if you prefer to count. So 1, 1. So just counting or just saying in, out. And it's very soft. It's just a nice way of bringing your awareness to the whole breath without forcing the breath. So just counting or just saying in, out, just for the next minute. And then taking a nice full breath, having a little stretch, having a little twist. Ready for the day, hopefully. Really important, again, just to highlight differences between a big breath, deep breath, not compartmentalizing. Belly breathing, chest breathing is bad, belly breathing is good. We're not breathing with the belly, we're not trying to breathe in any particular way. It's how those areas respond. And they will only be able to respond if we have that strong spine and that soft front of the body. And that is helped by all the stuff we do on a Wednesday about strengthening stuff, squats, etc. All the stuff we do in opening, you can feel here when we're opening the chest, we're creating that space. When we're doing all of the Qigong flow, we're creating that space to allow the breath to flow without having to really think about it and do loads of hard breath work. With that in mind, have a wonderful rest of your start of the week. Have a good Monday, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Take care. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye.